Hi, everyone. This is Joy Lucinda, and I am part of the community grid, as well as it is powered by Global One, which is Global WON. And I want to let you know that I am here with Warren Goodenow. We've known each other about 2 years now, and I wanted to do a recording, a Zoom call with him because he has so many opportunities for people that it's unbelievable. And it's really inspired me with his not for profit, but yet, let alone all the things that he continues to add on that has been extraordinary. So, Warren, why don't you just tell us a little bit about what you've been doing in the past years and how it's expanded?
Sure. I'm going to start by saying, look out the window there and realize that just beyond the little screen that blocks the light so you can see me is a pond. And that pond has, right now, it's covered with snow and it's icy, and we are out there with kids playing on it and that sort of thing. What we're starting to do is we're putting together what we call the Chimorel Sanctuary, which is a place where people come to find peace, inspiration, and empowerment, imbued with a sense of adventure. Now, think about that pond for a second, and the ice, and the fact that we have kids playing on it. Okay. Now, let me add one other fact. I happen to be 79 years old, and the fact that Joy is using me as a kind of an example of people who can do things regardless of whatever age it is just a way to speak to you and say, you can do anything you want. And I'm going to give you an example. As I walk up those stairs, the stairs that you can't quite see, the first time I came out here, I winced and I was walking up and my knees were really bothering me. And I said, I'm living here. I can't have this. And I just simply decided that's not going to be an issue. And I walk up the stairs every day and it's never an issue. So, one little tiny example of what you can do in your life. Let's go on from there and begin to say, what are some of the problems that you face? What are some of the goals that you would like to achieve? Here at Chimorel, we have a way of stepping into that, and that is a time frame, a dollar amount, and an action verb. So if you'd like to make $1 million next year, that's your dollar amount. That's also your action verb. I'd like to make, and it's finally your time frame this year. $1 million may be beyond what you've ever done before, so be realistic. Narrow it down. If the most you've ever made is 10,000, then make it 20,000. If the most you've ever made is something bigger, then go higher. Just stretch. And as you stretch, the next steps will begin to happen. The first part of that, and what makes it real, is your belief in yourself. Okay, Joy, I'm going to stop there for the moment and let you ask me questions that will guide us to what you'd like me to tell people, and we'll see what happens.
Well, what I'd like for you to do is maybe give real world examples of how this has worked based on three real world example projects that have been completed with those three steps.
Okay. Back approximately 20 years ago, a young man came into my life. He was an Ethiopian medical doctor, and he was working in this country as a social worker, and he was hoping that he could be able to do something to empower the people from his country to come here and restart their lives. Today, he is running a multi-million-dollar project that not only serves Ethiopians, but refugees and immigrants, all from Ohio and coming from places all over the world. I helped him write the first grant. I was actually part of the process that placed most of the people in his program for the first 3 years. And the end result is, at this point, he has something going that is tremendously powerful and helping literally hundreds of people every year.
Wow, that's inspiring.
Okay.
How did you motivate him though to do that?
Well, there's two parts to it. The first thing is I asked questions that said, what is it you really want? Until he decided what it is that he really wanted, we couldn't take the next steps. And he wasn't 100% sure, but at that particular point in time, I was uh, I was writing a grant for somebody else, and what we did is we agreed with that lady and him that we would double the size of the grant, and we would put both people in, and the grant came through, and he got started. Um, what did I do to motivate him? The first thing is he was motivated. Okay, I guided. I suggested, here's something you can do, here's something else you can do. And as we put the different pieces together, now to finish up on that particular story, the lady who we did the joint grant with, actually putting him into the picture strengthened her ability to get her grant. She probably wouldn't have gotten it otherwise. However, once the grant came through, she was trying to say, well, I get 2/3 and you get 1/3. And
Oh my.
and the fiscal administrator said, no, that's not how it's going to work. And she got all upset and she pulled out, and he took over and went from there.
See, that's where, and he had the capability to do it. But I think that one of the
He
things,
knew what it took.
Mhm.
She didn't quite get it.
Yeah, but
Okay.
he just fell away, which is really amazing. It ended up empowering him more. Well, and I
Yes.
wanted you to talk about empowerment. Can you tell us a little more about the employment and workforce opportunities that you've created?
Okay. Well, in the last few years, I've helped more than 1,000 people get jobs. Okay. Approximately 500 of them was with that program I just told you about.
Mhm.
Another 500 was with schools, a school that I worked with, and also just all kinds of individual people who uh, walk into my life and we start making things happen. So empowerment starts with asking a very basic question: what do you want? If I ask you what you want and you can give me something clear, going back to the young lady we were talking about, what she wanted was lots of money and all the control. Well, when she faced reality, it didn't work.
Mhm.
So, what you want, the next piece of that is, okay, when I mentioned a few seconds ago about wanting $1 million in the next year, well, maybe that's not facing reality today. It's entirely possible. If that's what you want, we can teach you how to make it happen. And I won't get into the details of how to have $1 million right now, but
Mhm.
one of the ways that I have found is I can buy property. Okay. And by buying property, we have more than $1 million at this point.
Well, there you go. But I'd like for you to expand on that a little bit because you have
Sure.
so many unique job opportunities. The one I remember when I met you a couple years ago was like auctioning, and there were these others. Can you give us some examples of those opportunities and how they tie in together?
Okay, well, one of the things that we are bringing to nonprofits and also to individuals who work together is a thing called an auction. Okay, so let's assume that your nonprofit wants to raise a bunch of money, and let's put a goal of $100,000 onto it. Okay, $100,000 essentially means 500 people times 250 bucks.
Hmm.
So where do you get 500 people to give you 250 bucks for the auction? Well, then we take steps and we go through, and you need, I won't get into the details, that's way past what we've got time for. But the bottom line is you take a step-by-step process, you walk it through, and you simply say, okay, I got to do this. The first thing is you're going to have to find some people who will step up. And the first part of that people is the people who are going to be the core group. Maybe 25 people who are really excited about your nonprofit, and they will help you find the next 450 people, 400 and 500, whatever the number you end up deciding. Because it doesn't have to be 500 times 250. It could be $500 times 250 people.
Mhm.
It could be $1,000 times, it's just, you run the numbers, you say, what does it take? Where do I find those people? How do I get somebody sufficiently excited about what we're doing so that we can make that happen? So if I take you through the screen there and out into the pond, and you sit and enjoy, just like Joy did not very long ago when it wasn't iced over,
Yep.
okay? She and a whole bunch of other people who were here for an event found peace, found some joy, ate some hamburgers, had a lot of fun, and ended up generating about $500 from that particular event.
Yeah, and that
Bottom
was
line,
before anything was even
and that
there.
was before we even owned the
Yeah,
place.
before you even opened. And so that's the thing I think people get caught up with is like, well, I have to get it all done perfectly, but no, it's about the steps. And I'm going to tell them kind of my experience on your
Good.
land, because what we did, and I think this is vitally important because as you know, Warren, the community grid is about farms and ranches and bringing people to beautiful destinations like yours, and where they can just be in a tranquility. But you taught, I mean, you had all these visions of these places that were just grassy knolls. Like you were considering maybe a mushroom farm in one of the cargo containers.
We
You were,
still will be doing that just a little
there
later.
you go. But you had this vision ahead of time, and I think that's what you're really good at. So you knew that was the right spot for that. And then the back is maybe an intentional community with tiny houses or destinations for people. And there's this pond, which is the center point. So whether you have a backyard where you have a farm or a ranch or a wellness center, it doesn't really matter. The key is that it has to be compelling for people to come and spend their money there, and while you offer an experience that's well worth it. But it's also, the thing I like about what you've put together so far is you've created a mecca of education for people, and that's what I'm really impressed with. But in addition to that, I think it's important that people realize, and one of the things that compelled me about what Jeremy said, Jeremy is, he's part of kind of our committee, and he's a brilliant thinker. And he created a light that actually doesn't cast shadows in the dark so that people don't shut in the winter. They can be outdoors. And that to me was so profound. But this is all happening because Warren had this vision, and now it is taking shape. And now people are coming. This is also the mecca for him to do the things we just talked about. So it's just been amazing. So I wanted you to tie in kind of the the wellness component, and also
Before
what's.
I do, let me say, Joy and I have known each other for a little while now.
Mhm.
And when she first talked about the community grid, I said, well, of course we'll be involved.
Yep.
Okay.
I still remember that
Community
day.
grid is an opportunity for people to do exactly what we're doing here at the Chimorel Sanctuary. Okay. So I want to put that out front because everything that Joy is doing is stepping right into the kinds of things that we're doing right here.
Well, and the thing
Uh,
that Warren and I are doing the same is that we find the people that fit together with the same interests and same paradigms. So it is grassroots, but we also have the expertise coming in as well. We both do that well, and that's why we collaborate so well.
Good. Now, stepping into the health part, okay, right now we have events going on. We've only been here just a few months now, but we have events going on where, and I will talk about Jeremy in a few seconds, where we end up bringing people in. One of the events happens every Tuesday. People will come in for what we call guided meditation. They will do some stretching, some deep breathing, and we will go through the chakras, and they end up getting a good feeling for how to move into a pretty deep meditation kind of thing. It takes about an hour, and by the time somebody is done, they are at peace.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's just one of the things that we're doing. Okay, we do it every Thursday. The next thing is every day of the week, we have uh, a Kundalini yoga thing. And this is powerful yoga.
Mhm. It is.
Okay. You don't sit there and stretch a little bit and hope. You are active, and you're sitting there, but you're doing uh and you're holding your hands out for 5, 10 minutes, and you are doing all kinds of things that are not only strength conditioning, but they put you into a mindset of, yes, I can do this. So that's another thing. We are going to be moving into all kinds of things. We have Reiki masters, we have massage therapists, we have all kinds of people who are going to be opening up. We don't have the sanctuary to the place where we can do as much as we would like to do. We've got one place, and we will be soon opening up a second place down in the basement. But from there, we will then move to a 2,000 square foot addition that will house about between 8 and 16 people on the top floor, and a place for 50 to maybe even 100 people coming in. I don't know if we can do 100 people in 2,000 square feet, but we can certainly do 50. Uh, and so we will open that up, and we will have more events and things of that nature. So, coming back, Jeremy has a thing called a touch wall. Okay. So you walk up to the wall and you touch it, and it does stuff.
Mhm. It's interactive. Yes.
Yes. And so you can draw your hands around, and it'll swirl and make kaleidoscopic shapes and things of that nature. Or you can set it up to play games. So when we have kids out here, they will be playing games on the touch wall and doing things for uh, what I guess the best way to say it is uh, they are learning by using this touch wall a
Mhm.
variety of hand skills and creative imagination and how to use a mouse and how to do different kind of so it's just over and over and over again, one more use of the touch wall. But if we would like to put on a seminar, which will be doing soon,
Mhm.
we can turn the touch wall into different interactive things so that whatever it is that the course and the things that we're talking about in this seminar are happening, you touch something and you learn it. You learn about it. Um, okay, one of many different kind of things. The reason Joy brought Jeremy up was that Jeremy lives here. Uh, he's got a shop. I can't show you the shop right now because the sun is too bright, but we can right outside the window and a little bit to my right is a shop where he's got his um, practice, and he builds signs and he builds all kinds of neat things, and he's basically a creative artist that comes up with all kinds of neat things. And one of his things is the light that Joy was talking about. Okay. So people can have this little light that goes around your head, and you can be walking in the forest in the middle of the night, and there are no shadows everywhere you are. You can see where you're going, and just one of many, many things that he's created.
Mhm.
Now, take that one more step. Okay. Jeremy was struggling at a point when I walked into his life and said, "Well, Jeremy, I'm about to move out to the sanctuary. Would you like to come?" He set a goal. He now can generate as much as $5,000 a week by taking the steps, setting the goal, implementing an action plan. He did that. One more example, and asked me to give you three. Here's a second one.
Okay, good.
Okay. And it's real. Uh, Jeremy has all kinds of other issues. I'm not going to get into those right now. But the bottom line is he has figured out how to not only generate a decent income, but also to step into our vision with the sanctuary and create all kinds of events. So,
Warren, can I interject for a second?
sure.
So I think, I mean, just to clarify, and I think it's awesome because what you're doing is so often we live in our own houses, our own apartments alone. And there's not a, I mean, yes, you can inspire yourself, but we can get very isolated. And I too live in communal housing. I work on a ranch in New Mexico. But what I find is that synergy where you're in the living room at 9 o'clock at night, and all of a sudden you're talking, that brilliant idea comes, that revelation that doesn't happen when you live alone necessarily, or you're not around other people, which COVID has kind of facilitated that. But the other piece of this is that the new kind of workforce, which you and I are in agreement on because we're in this project together, the new workforce is this. It's about the inspiring of people. The people are coming, like he has Jeff and all these other people that come to, or these other people, where it's multifaceted now and it's fun. It's not like you have to go to that 9 to 5 anymore. These sanctuaries, like the sanctuary, are providing the opportunity for people to come in temporarily and stay, live, grow, learn, play, have fun, do something maybe they never even thought was possible. So I think it's very important what you've already put in place as far as your structures through Chimorel, and then taking it to this level where people can come from all over the world, like the Ethiopian, and change their lives, but they show up and that's it. In the same, it's like your land creates the restful state, the tranquility, so that people can be clear to reach their goals. And so I just want to emphasize that work doesn't have to be what your parents taught you it should be anymore.
Good. Let's step into that for a few seconds.
Okay.
Immediately, when someone comes out here and they're having fun, and Joy, you watched me do this with probably 20 people the day you were here.
Yep.
Okay. I will just walk up and I'll say, "Okay, so what's happening in your life? What do you want?" Okay. It may not be quite that direct. But on the day that you were out here, I actually talked with 5 different people who in 15 minutes set a goal and developed an action plan. 15 minutes, and they knew where they were going to go.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, that's the first step. Know clearly what you want to do. As soon as you can tell me, I want to be, and this is one of the people that came up, I want to be uh, a speaker who empowers people. That was one of the young ladies came out. And so we talked for a few minutes and I said, okay, so to do that, you need practice speaking, right? So I said, okay, so let's turn this into something that you can do right now. Go to the various media and explain to the media that you have a desire to be a public speaker, and then ask them what kinds of things they would like to have, and go find those people. And all of a sudden, it turned from I can't do to now I have an action plan and I can get paid because I'm bringing something to the media.
I think the other thing that people get caught up on, in addition to that, is that, oh, well, I'm not an expert yet, so I can't really be a speaker. But everybody who's a speaker just teaches what they know, which is a little more than other people. That's it. It's this much more. That's it. It's not huge.
And you actually, to do whatever it is you want to do, you don't have to be better than the people that you're working with.
True.
You just have to have more confidence than they do.
Yeah, true. Leadership.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I will walk into a college classroom. Okay. I've taught every subject in every business subject there is, 8 levels of accounting. I could go on, business law, marketing, whatever.
Mhm.
I will walk into a classroom, and I'll tell you another story in just a second about how I actually did this, and I didn't have a clue what I was walking into.
Great.
Okay. But I'll walk into the classroom, and the first thing I tell the students is the fastest way to learn is to teach. So you're going to be teaching this class. And then I will ask a question, and someone will come up with an answer. And it may or may not be correct. It doesn't make any difference. But then we'll explore that. And by having a dialogue, they are teaching the class. And as they teach the class, what ends up happening is they learn way more than they would if I was just lecturing.
Oh, that's so profound. Mm.
So one time, somebody was was sick, and um, I had that particular class period. I wasn't in class, and guy came up to me. The director came up to me and said, "Warren, I need you to go teach this class."
Mhm.
I had never even seen the book.
Geez.
So I walked into the class and I asked a student to hand me a book. And I said, "Where are you in the book?" So I opened the page to that place and I asked a question right off the page in the book. And the end result was we used that exact same teaching method, and the kids taught the class.
Hmm. And they probably learned a lot more.
And they said, "Will you come back next time tomorrow?"
Yeah, lectures are
Okay.
boring. They're not empowering necessarily. Wow, Warren, that is so inspirational. Talking about inspiration, we're probably already at our like 20 or 30 minutes, which is great, but we'll do another one. But I want you to share maybe a quote or a story or an experience you've had that will inspire the people that are listening to this today, both from the fact that, you know what, you're not letting age get in the way as an excuse to stop. You are creating thousands of jobs for people and you have all of this experience. So what would you like to share?
All right. Well, let's close with how we ended up getting the sanctuary.
Okay.
Okay. I was back at my house and the one that I sold to my son before I came out here. And I was dithering back and forth. I was trying to say, I do a lot of eBay and I do a lot of things where I need the equivalent of a warehouse. Okay. But I also wanted to be out in nature and wanted to be part of doing a farm. And so I'm going back and forth, warehouse, farm, warehouse, farm. One Sunday, probably about 9 o'clock at night, I said, it's going to be a farm.
Huh.
The next day, a friend called me up and told me about the sanctuary.
Of course.
The day after that, I cut the deal with the people who owned the place. So for me, that's a pretty powerful inspiration.
Mhm. It
You
is.
can create whatever it is that you want. Now, if I hadn't been thinking about this for a long time, hadn't been putting in motion the thoughts that were out there and getting the sanctuary possibility to flow, I probably wouldn't have done it the next day.
Yeah, true.
But I had been thinking about it for a long time, and I just hadn't. I knew if I did the farm, what was going to happen, what was going to be taking place, what we would put together. Okay. So I'd been thinking about it. I'd been putting out the energy and the thoughts, and all I had to do was make the decision, and God dropped it. Boom.
Well,
It
yeah, and
just
it's almost like it, like you said earlier, it's almost like in that situation, God was letting you teach the class for yourself. And then before you knew it, he just watched as you came into, the fruition.
Mhm.
Wow, that is, I didn't even know that story. That is so amazing. But I want to emphasize one more part of that, because what I find is that when you have the vision, and it's the one that really resonates with your heart, it happens easily. So it was about 7 or 8 years ago, people were saying, Joy, I'm so stressed out. And I said, have you set a goal of ease and then think about what you really want to do? And nobody had. So they set a goal of stress, and then they wonder why things don't work out. But I think that's what you did. You just calmly let that vision take hold and to evolve. And thoughts are actually, they have weight. They're things. It's solid. And once it aligns together, it's just like that person says, I don't know why I'm calling you, but I do. But that is so
let,
inspiring.
let me step into the word easily.
Okay.
I don't think easily is quite correct. I
Okay.
think what actually happens is you do the hard work, you think it through, you spend the time, you interact with God, you interact with people around you. Okay. If somebody hadn't known that I was looking for something, they couldn't have told me about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not hard, really hard work, but it is, you have to do that work. You have to be out there and let people know what your vision is, let people know what you can possibly do. And the end result is then when you open up, at that point, it really seems like miraculous, easy,
Yeah.
something not complicated.
But you're right, because I left out a step in that, now that you say that, because being the ease is when finally the resistance stops.
Mhm.
I,
Yes.
I think that's,
When you don't empower the resistance, it goes away.
yes, all those,
So if you're fighting with something that you don't like in your life, stop fighting.
exactly. It's so, but
Let it go away and it will
that's the
go
easy
away.
part. Well, what I'm going to do is we're going to post this on the Global One YouTube channel, and also through Chimorel and through the Community
Sure.
Grid. But I will put Warren's contact information in the description, because I encourage anybody you know who needs a job, some creative ideas, or to really just take it to the next level. Warren does this in such a different way than other people. Or if you want to know more about intentional communities, ranches, farming, and how to make it where it really fits what you want versus following the tradition. So anyway, so thank you, Warren. I'm so glad we're going to have another discussion about some other topics here and there.
Good.
That you have inspired me a lot and gotten me on the right path. So I'm really grateful. So I encourage others to really take advantage of that as well in a good way. And all right. And
let me just say, if you decide to contact me, before you contact me, have something you want.
that is very fair. Okay. No, that's
Okay?
absolutely legitimate.
As soon as you know what you want, we will wave magic wands and things will begin to happen.
You and I are like that way, because even with my clients, I'm like, if you're ready to change, I'm ready to work with you. So, but yeah, so let's take you up, take you to your dreams, and they'll be real. So, all right.
Thank you so much.